That's right. Good morning. Welcome in. Welcome back, everybody. Happy Friday to you. Sunny, early September Friday. Football is in the air. Football's in the air. Different week, totally different challenge for the Irish. Okay. So that's going to be the topic of the day. Obviously, you can find the program on YouTube. Do it, subscribe if you haven't yet. Appreciate it very much. Give the video a thumbs up, helps in the search algorithm. Notifications on, you'll be alerted every time something rattles around in this brain matter and I put it out in the internet waves, if you will. Twitter, search by Always Irish or at Always Irish Inc. Emails alwaysirishinc@gmail.com. Audio only anywhere you want me. You can find me. Call in line. The phones are popping. I got calls already. I know everybody's just on the edge of their seat about Notre Dame, Marshall. They just can't wait to get it going. Notre Dame and Marshall, what are they? The thundering herd. I can hear them thundering down the toll road, getting off the exit. Everybody's on the edge of their seat. Phone lines are open. Get it cracking. 312-900-8815 if you want to have your idea heard and seen. Okay. So here's the deal this week. Here's where I'm at with this. This is the beauty of college football personified. This dynamic right here is the beauty of it. This dynamic is what makes college football so different than the NFL and makes it feel so different than the NFL. All right. Look at the dynamics and how different they are between Notre Dame's game last week and now. All right. It's so unique. Last week's challenge and the narrative around it and everything about it. This week's totally different. All these games are important. You have to win them all. There's only 12 of them. So until they expand this playoff to 12 officially, Notre Dame will no longer have to win all of them to make the playoff. And that's on my list of things to talk about too. But as we sit now, we know all these games are must wins. Totally different challenge. So just like last week, we were vibe checking Marcus Freeman and Notre Dame. And when I say vibe checking, I mean when that huge ball game kicked off, we were all sitting there kind of one eye open, one eye closed, saying, are we going to be able to hang with these guys in a big game against an elite program at their place the way we didn't do under the last guy enough? I know people are sick of hearing about Brian Kelly, but it's relevant. It's relevant, you guys. Every day I get these messages. You need to let Kelly go. You need to forget about all that. Listen, in time, there will be a time to forget about Brian Kelly and to quit talking about Brian Kelly. There will be. But this year isn't the year because there's still too much overlap that Brian Kelly's involved in from two angles. One angle is that the angle of talent and where it's at in this program. Nobody's happy about the wide receiver issues that we're going to have to win with this year in spite of. That's a Brian Kelly issue. He's tied to that intimately. And then on the other side of it, it's just the feel of all this. In Marcus's first year, the only thing you can compare that to is how it looked and felt under the last guy. Trust me, I'm sick of Kelly's face too. But while there's this overlap where he's involved with all this, it's fair to bring him up. It is. He's the last thing I want to think about. Real honestly, he is. But it's still all relevant until we could phase him far enough out of this and we build ourselves enough time that it just becomes Marcus's deal. And I don't have to compare everything he's doing to Kelly. So just like last week, we were all on the edge of our seats saying, can they stand up in this environment and be ready to show up and not be embarrassed? Like, quite frankly, we're used to in most of these dynamics in this kind of big ball game. Now, totally different challenge. Totally. Now, you don't have to be perfect this week. You're at home. You are playing an opponent that I respect, but they're at a lower level of football and they play a lower level of competition every day. I'm not trying to be rude. I'm not. But you can't tell me playing Marshall, you can't expect more than when we were playing Ohio State at their place. Don't tell me that. It's just a different level. So you don't have to be perfect. Notre Dame should be able to breathe a little, settle in a little, and be able to actually work on some things. Okay? Kent, good morning. I love you. I'm glad you're here. I don't know why you're not on a Ohio State pregame show somewhere, but I'm glad you're here, buddy. I'll take it. Kent, if you want, Kent, we'll give you the Kent's Corner, and you'll have 3 minutes to rant, but it can't be about Notre Dame. If you're going to join the show every day, give me your number somehow. I'll reach out to you. I'll give you your own segment, and it'll be called Kent's Corner, and you can rant as much as you want. I'll give you 3 minutes. I will not interrupt, but it can't be ripping on Notre Dame. Yell about something else. I'll give you 3 minutes every show you tune into. That's the deal I'll make. Okay, so totally different challenge. Here's the deal. Here's the deal, folks. This has been creeping in on me all week. Here's the deal. Game 1, weird bowl game, all the weird dynamics, staff influx, whatever. Game 2, at the Horseshoe, number 2 program, almost a 3-touchdown underdog. That's tough. I think all Notre Dame fans can kind of understand, even though you're annoyed at the last 2 outcomes, I think we can all understand there were unique circumstances to both of those first 2 games. That's over. That's over. There is no John coming on here and saying the bowl game was weird because of the timing and it wasn't a normal prep and all that. And it also isn't you just lost to the number 2 team that has more talent and more established pieces, which is probably what should happen. People are open to that. That's all over now. Like, things are getting serious now. It's all over. Marcus doesn't have any of those outs or leeways. I don't even want to say moral victories, but like excuses / reasons to help kind of explain why the last 2 ball games were losses back to back with a bunch of months in between, but back to back. You still know what I mean? And so all that goodwill and all that's out the window. Now you got to win. Now you got to win, and you got to win a lot in a lot of games in a row. That's just how this needs to go. And you need to get Marcus his first win. If it happens this week, it's going to be nice that it's at home. People will enjoy that. Give him a good, ovation and all that. But it didn't have to be this long. That's the thing. It didn't have to be. I would give up him getting that at home and all the warm feelings of that to have the bowl game be a win and knock off that big bowl game asterisk, or obviously Ohio State for competitive reasons this year, and it changes the narrative. So I would have preferred one of those be the first win, but that's not what happened. What do we have here? Good morning. More folks joining the chat. Fighting Irish, Mike Sloan in here. Appreciate you, Mike Sloan. You're always around. Domer88, good to see you. Dean Bambino, give me something good, buddy. Moral victories. The Ohio State game is still a loss. Unfortunately, all I can do is focus on the negative offensive woes. I understand that, Billy. I understand that. And that's why I'm saying you're not playing Ohio State's defense. You're not even playing Oklahoma State's defense like you were in these bowl games. You need to see the offense come to life right away. I don't care if it's running, passing. Let Buckner cook. Like, nobody's going to be in the mood to sit there the first half against Marshall at home and score 3 points going into the half. Can't happen. Can't happen. I have been relatively calm through all this, even Ohio State, but now's the time. There's no excuses. Going to the phone lines, 219. JD, is this you on a Friday morning?
You betcha, brother. I'm off this entire week, so I finally get to listen to you live.
Beautiful. What are you thinking about this Marshall ball game here? Have you recovered from Ohio State, or where are you at?
Oh, I'm still recovering, but I'm getting a lot better than I was a couple days ago, so that helps. But Marshall, I think we need to. I mean, there's two teams that are going to come out. Either we're going to come down with our heads down still, that we're upset that we lost Ohio State, come out a little sluggish, kind of do like, with some Notre Dame teams where we just kind of cruise through the game, and all of a sudden by the fourth quarter we kind of take over and we win the game. That's not going to probably cut it this year. I think we need to go out there and send a message to everybody and to the polls and everything, and just go out there and be up by 21 at halftime.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of carries on what I was just talking about. Like, your games with built-in excuses of why you're struggling are over. So now people are going to expect you to put up and put out. And really, what you just brought up, JD, is exactly what's in my mind when I'm looking to see if they're prepared for this moment. Totally different one than last week, but equally important that you're properly prepared for it. You can't see that sluggish offensive start the whole first half at home. You can't, JD. I'm going to lose it. I'm absolutely going to lose it. That's not Ohio State. It's Marshall. I'm going to lose it if you can't move the ball.
Oh, exactly. If we're not moving the ball on Marshall, like you said, no offense to him, but if we're not moving against them, then it's not going to happen the rest of the year. And it's just going to be like what everybody else, like ESPN and all those guys, it's going to be 8 in this, 9 wins this, or 7 wins this. I mean, we're going to go right down their, method if we continue that way. But I think if we just would come out, the defense plays like they are, and the offense finally clicks, I don't see why, we basically get to Clemson undefeated, and then we go from there.
That's my roadmap. When you look at the teams in between now and Clemson, there's not one team that has more talent than Notre Dame that they should lose to. Like, there just isn't. So that creates you a kind of a really nice bookend roadmap. And then when you get to Clemson and we get through that ball game, then we'll be in a better position to start looking at that Thanksgiving weekend matchup in California with USC and look at that dynamic and how important it is that Notre Dame keeps the momentum of that series on the Irish side and doesn't let it flip. JD, let me ask you this. This is really interesting. It's obvious offensively, no one's happy, and we all know exactly what we need to see. A lot of points and a lot of yards, throwing and passing. You need to get this offense cooked. Get it cooking. But defensively is where this is interesting. You give up 21 against that explosive Ohio State offense. Now, when you play regular teams from earth, what do you expect the defense to do? Are you saying, JD, 21 to Ohio State, you got to give up less than to everybody else? Is that realistic? What do you expect from the defense this week?
Well, I think it depends on what the offense puts the defense in. If the offense goes 3 and out and has a terrible 10-yard punt when the defense is in a bad position, I'm not going to count that like if that's a score. So I can see that during the year where offense kind of sometimes gives up a little bit, and all of a sudden the defense is, got to hold them, in the red zone. So, but if they got to drive the whole field, I think Notre Dame's defense can, withstand them and everything like that. Now, if we're up 45 and they score 21 points because, they put the second string in, and I'm okay with that. But I mean, we should be competing pretty hard. I think if the offense can give the defense a break to rest and just give them good field position, I don't see that being a problem.
Yep. It's going to be interesting. Just the narrative shift from last week and what it was to this week. What are you hoping to see out of Buckner this week? I really want to see them kind of relax a little bit. No, you don't have to be perfect, and let him operate and ease in, and not play so tight where you feel like one mistake, the game's over. That's how it felt offensively all last Saturday night. I really want to see them put him in a position where he can just cook and do what's natural to him and ease into this season. And I just don't think a lot of that got accomplished last week. Do you see that the same way with him?
I see the same thing. And I think we need to let him or get in his mind, hey, need to throw this game. I know you, because he just seemed like sometimes I'm just going to start running. Try to see, get hit one of your playmakers. Let's see what happens. It's just too much of, I'm just going to start running because I don't know if I can hit that pass or not. So I'm just going to go ahead and run for 4 yards. But then again, that puts him in one more chance of getting hurt. And to me, it's like in this game, this is where I really want to see you throw the ball more. I want to see you try some passes. I want to see you hit some receivers. So that gives him some confidence. So that way, when we're there by that time we get to Clemson, he's ready to go and has that confidence. Oh yeah, I can throw the ball. I don't have to run every single play. I'm not saying you can't run, but you don't have to run every single play or looking to run first instead of throw.
Yeah, and especially against Marshall and Cal, I don't need Buckner lowering his head on 2nd and 8 and getting, the hell knocked out of him. I don't need that. I'm not asking for him to be reckless or for the staff to put him in that position. I just need to see more, just for all of this to move forward, to get those reps, get that experience. Like, now is a game where Merriweather should be out there getting balls thrown to him against Cal and Marshall. These are the 2 weeks to do it, and you need to get this going. So I need to see them loosen up a little bit.
Yes, exactly. Just play loose and let it go. Let it fly.
Yep. So I don't know, man. It's going to be interesting, but it turns into a totally different game watch too, JD. I know you're like me. Like last week, it was like find a way to win by 1 point no matter what. I don't care what it looks like. I'll be happy. This week, it's more people are going to be nitpicky and mad because they're expecting a big time win. And if we struggle early, people are going to be mad.
Oh, yeah, I agree. We're kind of at a fan base right now where we're not in a good mindset right now. And you just need to come out there and just be up 21 at least at halftime. And all of us would be like, okay, you know what? We're going to get this program turned around. We're going to get to Clemson. We're going to beat Clemson. And we're just going to go, go, go. And because we got to win. We got to win handily, too, against these teams, for especially recruiting.
Yeah.
We have to get – if we want these recruits to want to come here, you have to win. You have to show you can throw the ball. You have to show that you can – this is the time to get the stats. This is where you let the receivers catch it. Like the young guys get in there and play. That way these recruits are watching on TV like, oh, okay. It wasn't just like Ohio State where they only threw it to 2 guys and this guy never saw the field and that. I mean, yeah, this is a chance for us to get back in the good with some of these recruits as well, I believe.
Yep. So time to get on the right track here, get that first win for Marcus, and then kind of look at that as the official start of the Freeman era. I don't like that. I would have liked it to come off a big bowl win, get that knocked off us. It would have been nice if you upset Ohio State. We're having a different conversation with a different energy level this week. Right now, the best you could do is beat the hell out of this team, then play Cal and do better than that, and then ramp up. So that's what I need to see. JD, enjoy the game, my friend, and then I'll see you and the family next week at Notre Dame.
Sounds good, brother. Appreciate you.
Beautiful. Have a good Friday. Take care now. We got a couple chats here that I got to go over because some of them are ridiculous. Mr. E, man, Notre Dame fans are excited for their cupcakes. They know that's all they've got to make them look relevant and good. I mean, if that's, I don't know if that's an Ohio State fan or just somebody who doesn't like Notre Dame. If it's an Ohio State fan, this angle really makes no sense because the better Notre Dame looks throughout the rest of the year, the better that win looks for Ohio State. So they should want Notre Dame to do well. It makes them look better, and they already look good enough. So whatever. And if this is an Ohio State fan, I believe they're playing who? Arkansas State this week? Like whatever. Like the cupcakes, do you know how many times Notre Dame doesn't play anybody on the schedule has been debunked? Looking at that strength of schedule over the last 10 years, Notre Dame's in that top 15 almost every year. Like it's just something that's in the ether for if you don't like Notre Dame to just say they never play anybody. So, but whatever. You can't play Alabama or Ohio State every week. I know that's what people seem to want Notre Dame to have to do. Oh, I hit something I shouldn't have hit here. What is it? We had all receivers. Kent, here you go again, Kent. Man. Kent, you played safe coverage and all that zone over the top and all. So what? So what? The idea was to keep Ohio State off the scoreboard as much as possible. That is the game plan to beat that team. That is the plan that Michigan used. Like, you have to do that. You have to do that. So it was, we're going to beat you by 40. Now that Notre Dame covered the spread and played them tough defensively, now even that's not enough. Like, Kent, I don't know how much is enough praise for me to give you. I really just don't. I don't. Ohio State's really good. There, are you happy? Like, I just don't know how much I have to say that enough. I'm assuming Bowen. I saw this, Michael. Bowen wore Oklahoma gloves in his game last night. There was tweets about it. I swear to God, these recruiting outfits want these guys to flip from Notre Dame. The way they write their articles, I think they want it to happen, and here's why. It makes perfect sense. Here's why. You get all the rush of a highly recruited guy to your site when they commit to Notre Dame. You get all that rush and the excitement. You know that Notre Dame fan base is going to follow you, all that, right? So you get all that rush when a guy commits to Notre Dame. The best thing for On3 and Rivals and 247 and all that is if they could do it all again. Go ahead and do it all again. And then you have all the juicy articles of this guy dropping Notre Dame and where's he going to go next. Then you get to double up on that guy and his value to your recruiting operation. It's a business. That's how this goes. So I saw that. It can't be looked at as a good sign, right? Like, I don't know what to make of it, but when you're committed to Notre Dame and you're playing in your high school games with Oklahoma's colors on your gloves, I don't love it. I don't love it. And then that puts you in a position where you're losing two of your very top end recruits that you've had forever. Rough. That's rough. Like, that's a rough go. And I don't know how you fix that problem. That's the issue. Oh boy. Back to the phones. 361. Let's have some fun. You're on the air. Happy Friday.
Happy Friday, John. It's Mike, your 5'0" resident Texas fan, or Texas resident Notre Dame fan. Hello.
What's going on, man? What are you thinking this week? How are you feeling coming off Ohio State into Marshall? Where are you at in your mind and your heart? Tell me.
It's as simple as this. This needs to be looked at as a confidence building game. You played sports growing up. I played sports growing up. A lot of your listeners have. There was nothing more to build your confidence than winning a lot to a little, regardless of the competition level. Just knowing you can do it, just build on that. That's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for the evidence, the proof of concept that we can do all the things we think we can do. And I think we saw evidence of it in bits and pieces against Ohio State. We just actively chose not to do it in the biggest moments. It was the weirdest thing. And I didn't think of this until now, just listening to you. I feel like, and I want to hear your opinion on this, I feel like Tommy Rees is stuck in this mode of thinking like Brian Kelly. It's kind of like if you're in a relationship for so long, you build these tendencies and these habits and ways of addressing things, and you don't know how to break out of it easily. And I think Reese is stuck in this little spot with that. And I'm hoping Marshall allows him to break out of it.
I think that's a really good point. And that is a point I've heard more people make this last week. And when it first jumped out to me was, like you said, where Notre Dame was kind of following the recipe by the book of how to be in the game late against Ohio State with the chance to knock them off. They were. But then they got a little conservative to the point where it felt Kelly-ish, like you're not trying to win anymore. You're trying to just keep it close. And that's where I felt Brian Kelly-ish. Like, we're not even trying enough to do what we need to do to put in position to win. That got frustrating. But I've heard a lot of people, including my own father, when he walked out the door after the Ohio State game, said, think about the part of this team that let us down the most tonight. Tell me the most overlapping, lingering part of the team from the Kelly era, and let me know what you come up with in the morning. And I know what he was getting at.
Yeah. I'm assuming you're leading into the receivers, the passing game. And if that's where you're going, I was going to say nothing against Matt Salerno. He is your quintessential, typical Notre Dame guy. But when you're sending him deep more than you're sending Braden Lindsey deep, we have a problem. It's just, to me, that's just a fact.
Well, it's no offense. Here's the thing, man. No offense to Matt Salerno, but Notre Dame should not be in the position where they have walk-ons getting that many snaps at wide receiver. That's the point. Notre Dame's a legitimate top 10 program, won 10, 11, or 12 games for the last 5 years in a row. You shouldn't be running those guys out there, even though I appreciate Matt Salerno and all the fair catches on punts. I get it, but we just shouldn't be in that spot.
Yeah, and talk about fair catches. Even the side of you talk about special teams all the time, John, and I agree 100% with everything you ever say. And Saturday night, it was weird. There were two punts. One specifically that Joseph had plenty of room and still fair caught it. We've been backed up all night. At least try to get out. But then we're running our kick return team into a brick wall where, okay, that's when I want to see you fair catch it, because obviously it hasn't worked twice. Why are we going to try it another time? Just weird things that, and I know it's game one. We're trying to figure it out. And, we saw it last year with Marcus Freeman specifically on defense, him trying to figure it out. It took a couple games. So you're going to experience that with the head coach side of things. But I didn't understand some of the approaches. There were situations where I felt like, okay, let's be aggressive, and we weren't. And other times I'm like, let's be a little conservative, and we were aggressive. It was a weird dynamic, but the lack of interest on the first drive and the drive with the offensive pass interference, the lack of interest to take shots on the first drive. We're on the 15-yard line. There is no reason not a single ball was thrown towards the end zone. First of all, you got to throw the ball to get towards the end zone. We ran it 3 times. Then the 1st and 25. If that's your approach, save us all the trouble and just punt on first down. If that's what you're going to do when you have 1st and 25 and just accept that there's no way on God's green earth we're going to get a first down, just punt. Those are the two instances that I was really beside myself rewatching the game and thinking it back.
And it's perfectly fair. And I think all Notre Dame fans kind of looked at that the same way. But it just can't feel big game Brian Kelly-ish. As soon as the feeling starts to be more, we're playing not to lose or playing to keep it close rather than try and win, that's where I started to get uncomfortable. And in retrospect, I hope maybe Reese and Freeman see that too. And they were a little too gun shy, and maybe trust your young quarterback to try more.
Well, that's the thing. Buckner showed he can do it. He showed he has the arm. He showed the potential, and we just didn't give him full access to it through play design and play calling. And I do hope that Freeman and Reese saw the same things and use this week as a confidence builder to show, hey, we can do all the things when we want to do it, as often as we need to do it, and just let it go. Win 49-10 or 55-3 like they did in Norfolk State. Let's do that just to build that confidence, show the fans, the coaching staff, the team, hey, we can do this. Now, is it going to be as easy against like Clemson and maybe BYU or even USC down the road? Probably not. But they have to know they can do it and see it and feel it and live it in the game. That's what I want to see this weekend.
Yep. And you have an opponent. You should be able to do that too. We are trying to be respectful, but I also factually have to acknowledge the talent drop off between Ohio State and Marshall. You should be able to get more done. But I'll wrap it up with this. Like, you're talking about showing more. Styles is a baller. He's supposed to be Notre Dame's #1 alpha dog, wide receiver, #1 go-to guy. And he gets the ball once, and it's the first play of the game. That's an example. That can never be. That can't be your reality. That can't be real life. That can't be the dynamic you're operating in. Can't be. So relax, loosen up the reins, and let Buckner cook.
Exactly. And I'll leave you with this. I did my own little research. Marshall, over the last 4 recruiting cycles, 19, 20, 21, 22, their average recruiting rank is 82nd. There is no reason they should even remotely be in this game with us for a second.
Yep.
Thanks, man.
You're right. Have a good one. Thanks for the call. We'll see you on Twitter. Oh, boy. Where were Wilkins, Merriweather, Colsey, and Thomas? Is Wilkins still not under percent? Is Colsey still not under percent? I don't know. But in Merriweather, all these guys, I don't know. Who are you going to run out there at Notre Dame Stadium? Pick the fifth guy who comes in the third row, give him a helmet. I'm sick of having these issues. All of our boys were being held quite often. Of course they were. The issue is I can't even blame the Big Ten. It was an ACC crew. So I can't even blame the Big Ten for that. Oh, they were all, yeah. Kent's still at it, bro. Your offense is trash, and all those teams have offense and defense. Like, Kent loves Notre Dame. He just loves them so much. They're always in his head. Can't get his mind off it. And of course he loves me, obviously. Salerno was a walk-on that earned that scholarship. Absolutely, he did. It shouldn't be one that he should be in a position to earn, is my point. Like, there's a way to say this without it being mean to Matt Salerno. There is. He absolutely earned that scholarship. In an elite playoff game winning program, Matt Salerno never makes it to the point to earn that scholarship. That's my point. Like, I love what he's done and that he's risen to that. But if you have a 5-star great wide receiver there instead, Matt Salerno's not making it past walk-on scout team. That's my point. That's my point. Like, it's great what he's done. He should never be in the position to even be able to do what he did. He shouldn't. That's my point. And I know that sounds mean, but that's what I mean. Back to the call-in line. 309, what's on your mind? Good morning.
Good morning, John. It's Ben from the Two Irish Brothers.
I could recognize your voice. What's up this morning? 309, what is that? Bloomington? Where are you at?
Yeah, Bloomington Normal, baby.
ISU all day, baby. What's on your mind?
So, for us, like, are we going to have a ton of faith in Buckner this game? Because, you know, everybody's talking about the passing game and what we did and didn't do and all that. But I felt like there wasn't a lot of faith in him. And it's like we bring this guy in, and he's what star? 4 or 5-star recruit. And he comes to Notre Dame for what reason? To help us win a championship. Okay, if that's Alabama, they start him. They have faith. They let him throw the ball all over the place. Did that happen last game? No.
I think.
Where's the faith?
Here's what I honestly think. I think Reese and Freeman, when they put together the game plan for Ohio State, I think they were looking at the big picture and figured the one thing we cannot afford to do here is put our new young quarterback in a position to have a really bad game, or it goes really bad on him because he's aggressive and then he has no confidence. Notre Dame gets blown out in prime time and it's this big thing. I felt that they strongly, intentionally limited what that offense could be last week, all for that reason. And I get it to an extent, but I also think that there was a line they crossed with it where it prevented us from being in the game late. And that's where I have an issue. That's what I think happened. And you can't do it this week. You got to unleash everything now.
Yep. Yes, you do.
But does that make sense, Ben? Does that make sense? Like, that's what they did, obviously. Yeah. But it was too much to the point where it stopped us from being able to score enough to be in the game. That's how I felt.
Right. I felt like the approach that we saw when we beat Clemson in South Bend and DJ threw for all those yards, I felt like we didn't take the same approach that Clemson took with DJ, throwing him into the fire, coming into a hostile environment that was Notre Dame. We didn't see that with Buckner coming into Columbus in the Horseshoe.
Yep. And I'm going to tell you this. The moment's never going to be too big for Tyler Buckner. That guy is California Joe Cool, calm. He's just like me on this show, always stable, never too high or too low, always staying level. The moment's not too big for him. So now it's just a matter of physically getting things done. The moment ain't going to be too big. If it's not too big at the Horseshoe, it isn't too big in a playoff game. Buckner will be fine with that. You got to let the man cook tomorrow. Let him cook.
Yes, I totally agree. And it's not just the passing game that needs to cook. It's the running game too.
Absolutely.
They both complement each other. If you want to be elite and you want to be where Alabama is and Clemson on a good year and Ohio State on a good year and even Georgia on a good year, you have to have a running game and you have to have a passing game. So then when you go up against a team like Alabama that shuts down your passing game, you can run, or vice versa. If they shut down the run game, you go to the pass. And we saw that with Clemson. When we played Clemson in South Bend under the lights, we shut their running game down. So what did they do? Okay, we're going to the passing game. You're going to have to shut down both if you want to beat us.
And the other thing I'm sure you had a problem with too is lack of adjustments. You win big time football games adjusting off adjustments. And then Notre Dame had some success early, but then when things weren't working, where was the pivot? Like, I didn't see a pivot that suited me enough to feel like, all right, we're trying something different. Did you notice that too, or is that just me?
No, we brought that up in our recap and we led with that in the preview. It's, football is almost a game of chess. It's you throw this at me. Okay. I counter, I throw this at you. And if Ohio State, for example, knows that you're going to run it, they're going to stop the run every time. There was no pivot. Okay, you go 2nd and 15, you run the ball with the quarterback sneak. And then you go 3rd and 18 and you run it again. Okay, well, Ohio State knows you're running it again because that's all you've been doing all game. Where's the pivot? Where's the adjustment? And why is Tommy Rees not saying, okay, Buckner, if you see this coming at you, make the adjustment audible to this play. Let's go from there. There was none of that. I totally agree.
Yeah. And so I think they overdid the conservatism on this to protect their young quarterback. And I just feel they ratcheted that up a little a couple cranks too much on the conservative side for me. Let's flip it to the defense. This is very interesting to me. We know there's a lot of work that needs to be done on the offense. Everybody knows that. Defensively, overall, you're going to pick on the blitz and everything and the blown coverage for the 2 scores. 21 points against that offense is something you would take every day if you're an Ohio State opponent. What does that mean for you with the rest of the teams we play that have less talent? Do you expect them to hold everybody under 21, or what do you want to see from the defense now?
Your last caller, he hit the nail on the head. It's all situational. It's, okay, what are they giving us? What are they doing? What are we good against? What are we not good against? And, some days you're just more amped up. Ohio State was a special night. You have Freeman coming home. You have him, a defensive guy. That defense was fired up. That they were tired of hearing about how good that passing offense was of Ohio State. Those dudes were angry. So are they going to play with the same passion against Marshall and Cal and, Boston College? I don't know. So if they're not, then what are we doing? Are we limiting that? I don't know. But if we're going to be elite, we need to shut people down. We need to do almost like what Georgia did last year, where I think the highest point total they had given up going into the Alabama game in the SEC championship was 20 points? That's elite defense right there.
Yeah.
So, it's incredible. So I think that's where we can be. I think if we can be at 20 points every game, I'm happy with that.
Yep. It's just, and some of it's unique. If you're going to blow out a team, maybe at the end of the game, they score 10 points on your third team. You're going to look at that differently, than a full-time battle like Ohio State. But I just think what I'm looking for, like you mentioned, how are you going to come in there? What's your energy level like against Martian against a Martian compared to the Ohio State situation? I got to see you come out and be ready to go. This can't be a Kelly first quarter hangover at home. We're dragging ass. No one's open to that. You got to come out ready to be dynamic. This fan base isn't going to be happy the first half if you play sloppy.
Yeah, totally agree. I totally agree with you.
Beautiful. Well, thanks for the call, my friend. Two Irish brothers. Check their show out, and I'll let you get back to baby duty. I hear that kid in the background.
Yep. I appreciate it, sir. You have a great day.
You too. Take care. Enjoy the game.
Yep. Bye. Go Irish.
Go Irish. Oh, good old Bloomington, Illinois. Nice little town there. Nice college town. It's fun down there. 5, 6, 7. Your thoughts are from heaven. You're on the air. How are you this morning?
Good. How's it going, John?
Fantastic. So what's on your mind as we enter another Notre Dame football weekend here? Where are you at?
All right, I'm calling in for a reason I'm sure you're aware of. So to get off topic a little bit, I go up to a game a year. Me and my dad do. And last year we went to the Cincinnati game, and I know you noticed. You've seen all the red in the stands. What can Notre Dame do to create a better home field advantage? Because I know you've seen the Georgia game years ago, the Texas game, the Nebraska game in the 90s. Notre Dame fans, they're not very loyal. They sell their tickets. They don't go out and support their teams, especially in the bigger games. And the last thing I want to see next year is a sea of red when Ohio State comes to South Bend. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, that's a really, really good question. And I think it's one that's complicated. And that's not meant to be an excuse. I just think there are a lot of unique factors with this dynamic and Notre Dame specifically that have to be thought about. Nice. Here's number one is a lot of these people in the Notre Dame fan base are not local. They are not regional. This isn't the University of Illinois, and most people going to the games live in the Chicago area or somewhere in central Illinois, easy to get. No. So when you have a national following and a lot of those people only make it in town from California or Florida, one game a year or whatever, that's something big that has to be planned for. It's not like this week we'll hop in the car, we'll just go. So that's number one. A lot of people have to plan coming to Notre Dame games way, way ahead. Changes the dynamic of everything because it's no longer regional. That's number one. Number two is, I don't know how you stop it with like the Georgia situation. That was one where you're coming off 4-8 and your next big home game is Georgia. And then you look at that and a lot of people said, no, I'm not doing it. I'll support the team with my heart, but I'm not giving them my money after 4-8 and all the money you wanted for those Georgia tickets. I'm going to love Notre Dame from home this week. Now, I have no problem with that. You spend your money how you want to. My point is, whenever I've had possession of Notre Dame tickets and I didn't want to go or couldn't go to the game, I either give them or sell them, but I make sure it's to Notre Dame people. I find a nice guy with a 7-year-old son. He wants to bring the first game, sell him for face value. Everybody wins. I'm not putting him on the regular market for the opponent to take. I'm going to do a little legwork. I'm going to do a little legwork to make sure they end up in hands of Notre Dame people. So I have no problem with people not going or spending the money, but don't give it to the opponent.
I just think it's a problem. It is a problem, and that's a good point you make with the national brand that Notre Dame carries with it, because there is a lot of fans across the country in every state outside of South Bend. I understand that, but just like anywhere, I mean, Chicago's real close to Notre Dame, and most of the Chicago people, I know you're from Chicago, are either Northwestern or Notre Dame, and the majority of Notre Dame, right?
Yeah, come on. There's 14 people that care about Northwestern football, and it's some of the parents. That's about it. I lived in Evanston. Right. I lived in Evanston 7 years. You would barely know a Big Ten game's going on outside my door. I mean, it's wild. Those people are, but I'm telling you, a lot of people I know, it is a big deal to go to a Notre Dame game, and it has to be planned for, and they're only going to do it once a year or whatever. But put those tickets, there are ticket marketplaces where you could have it just be your fans. Like, I have a network of enough people I know that I could send a few texts and get rid of my tickets to a nice family or a dad and a son or daughter or whatever. But there's enough marketplace where if you tried, you can ensure that if you don't go, your Georgia or Cincy tickets go to Notre Dame people. What it comes down to is people don't care. They want to flip them and make money. They don't care what happens after that. Isn't that the bottom line?
Yeah. There's a YouTube video that I came across a while ago, and it was entitled "The Day Georgia Fans Took Over Notre Dame Stadium."
I got to look that up.
Commenting on that video.
I want to look that up. That seems very interesting. Yeah.
Look it up, because I mean it looks like a neutral site game. There's a lot of red in that stadium, and I know you know that just from watching the game.
But Georgia's different. But wait,
fans are commenting on what's that?
It's so frustrating. But here's the thing, man. Think of this. All right, you got the Georgia game. I totally understand. You're coming off 4-8 and then extorting your own fans for exorbitant ticket prices because Georgia, a great team's coming to town. I understand completely why people didn't go, including myself. But I made sure those tickets ended up in Notre Dame people's hands. Cincy, you have a different problem. Cincinnati's close enough to Notre Dame. All the Cincinnati people wanted to go because it's a close drive. And some of the Notre Dame people are thinking, it's only Cincinnati. Am I supposed to act like this is the biggest game in the world? It's Cincinnati. That's how that
was a top 10 game.
But I'm telling you the mentality, though. That's how you ended up in a position with tickets available for Cincinnati people to just drive over from Ohio. That's how it happened. I'm telling you. Notre Dame people were thinking it's only Cincinnati.
I always hated it. I always hated seeing how many opposing teams Notre Dame brings in. But when I went to the Cincinnati game last year, I just said to myself, man, this is unacceptable. An American program is bringing in 20, 25, 30,000 people into your stadium.
I just think it's the excitement of all of them being able to see Notre Dame. Their team was good. They were looking for the upset bid. Like, you had all the emotion on the Cincinnati end of this. The location's convenient. Yeah. It's the biggest environment they might play in, like other than a playoff or whatever. It was a huge environment. I just think that it's that easy, man. But it's the Nebraska one so long ago.
It's not going to change. I'm going to tell you something. When we play Ohio State next year, it's going to look a lot like Georgia. I'm going to promise you that right now.
I think you're right. But again, some of this is geographic based on the opponent. Ohio State and Cincinnati are a convenient drive to Notre Dame. That impacts this. I just don't think that many.
Remember when Texas came to town a few years ago? You remember how much burnt orange was in the stadium?
Yeah, and it doesn't surprise me. Texas travels well. That wouldn't surprise me. But what can you think of? How do you stop this? If it's up to you and you're in charge of all this, what do you do?
The only thing I can think of is to make tickets more affordable.
Right.
And another thing that really irritates me is this year, for instance, for the Clemson game, you can't buy single game tickets to that game. It's got to be part of a mini package.
I saw
you
that.
Have to spend $300 to buy another ticket, and a lot of people only want to go to a game a year.
Yeah, when you nickel and dime your own loyals like that, it rubs people the wrong way. It just does. And I know they did that's ticky-tack, isn't it? If you want to come in town for that one game and you want to pay a lot, you should be able to do it. You should not have to buy a multi-game package. That's some modern age stuff, but it rubs people the wrong way. We got a chat here.
I just think Notre Dame's marketing department is going to have to. I wish that they would try to come up with. I'm not a marketing expert, so I don't know what to come up with. The only thing I could think of is to make the tickets more affordable and to not package games together, especially big games like Clemson. But you would think that between all of their staff, they would be able to come up with something like they did for Michigan a few years ago in Game 1, like Irish wear green or something small like that. Like I think they're doing that for the Cal game this year. But I don't know. I'm just sick and tired of seeing these opposing fans take over our stadium. And I'll never forget the Georgia game, the roar of the crowd when that Georgia defensive end strip sacked Brandon Wimbush. It was like they were at home.
Yeah, that's hard, man. And the other thing is, Is some of that a compliment to Notre Dame? Ask yourself that every other fan base, if they can, that's the one away game that they'll pay a big dollar to go to and to see the campus and be there.
Yeah.
Like some of
it
this
is. It's like a bucket list thing to do.
Exactly. So
fans.
some of that is a compliment to Notre Dame that all these other fan bases are going, oh my God, we got to see Notre Dame once. Like some of that's a compliment, but the people that do pay for these season tickets, I don't care if you don't want to go and you want to sell them. Sell them to somebody you know in your network that's a Notre Dame person. I don't think that's too much to ask.
I'm telling you, I'm a firm believer in this. When I go to games, I'm loud all game long. When they're on defense, I'm up, I'm yelling, I'm doing whatever I can to make noise.
Down in front.
Oh yeah. And there's a lot of wine and cheese Notre Dame fans.
Oh yeah.
I'm sure you know that. You go to games.
Oh, they're all over, and they're the big money cigar smokers.
I just don't like that. Like I think that a home crowd advantage can really do a lot. I mean, you've seen it this week in Columbus. What do you think that defense? That defense, honestly, defense fed off the energy in the crowd. It's just what it is. So that's something that we could use to our advantage, man. We need to take advantage of that. We're sitting here as Notre Dame fans trying to come up with ways to win these big games. That's something that we have to have.
Yeah, and
when they come to our stadium, they have to hear us.
Yeah, and let me ask this. Is some of this a chicken and the egg dynamic where if Notre Dame was winning their biggest games, maybe you wouldn't have this problem to this extent where everybody just figures, why am I going to go through all the travel hassle, pay these exorbitant ticket prices, and then watch us lose a big game? Yeah. Like, honestly, how much of it is scar tissue? That's why I gave up the opportunity to go to that Georgia game. That was exactly what's in my mind. Now, I didn't want those tickets to go to Georgia people, but I wasn't going to spend $500 or $600 to be pissed off all night. I could do that at home for free. So it's tricky. Now, I will say this on the plus end of this discussion. Notre Dame Stadium is starting to get a little louder. It is not Penn State, Wisconsin, LSU. Like, it is not those environments. However, the last 5-10 years, it has gotten louder and a little rowdier in there with what seems to me to be a younger.
They're adding the light shows at the start of the fourth quarter or at the end of the third quarter.
Yeah.
I like that.
There you go. Like that was, and I was there for that, and it was new and it gave you some energy and everything. But that USC game, the section I was in, it was rowdy. Everybody in there was drinking a lot more than our group was, and it got rowdy. So if that's what you're looking for,
how was the light show at the game you went to? I haven't seen it yet. How was it being there?
It was cool, just because you don't expect it from Notre Dame. So I think that's why it's cool to me, because that modern of an idea isn't something that usually comes from Notre Dame. So when they totally cut the lights off at the whole stadium in the commercial break from the third to fourth quarter, that was cool. Everybody got into that. Notre Dame was winning, like in a good mood. So yeah, it was really cool. They had a lot of recruits there. They wanted to show that too. And I enjoyed it, but it's louder in there, but it's never going to be Penn State at night. We have too many wine and cheeses and aren't going anywhere. No way.
Yeah. I don't expect it to be Penn State, but I just don't want to see a 50-50 crowd in there.
You're right, though.
So you make a lot of good points. I understand everything you're saying. It's just whenever I see that, it's really, really disappointing.
Yeah, I don't know how you stop it. Like, if it comes down to economics, people want to get them and flip them and just make a buck. Those are people that really don't care that much about Notre Dame football then. Like, if that's your priority, then you're not thinking of it the way me and you are.
Especially for these big games. I understand the Georgia game because you're right. We were coming off a 4-8 season. But Ohio State next year, like going into next season, we're going to be good next year. We're going to lose some on the defense and on the offensive line a little bit. But what we have, the talent we have coming in, we're going to, I don't want to say we're going to reload, but we're going to be good. I think we're going to be competitive next year with Ohio State. Ohio State's losing a lot next year.
You know what?
So next year, there's no excuse.
Listen,
for Notre Dame fans to sell out like that. I don't think
you're bringing
go there and support your team. We've won 10 games, 5 years in a row. We're doing good. So get out there and support your guys at the biggest game of the season.
Yep, you're bringing up a really good point, because a much better bar of where Marcus Freeman is with all this is what happens Notre Dame, Ohio State next year. Not so much this year, but next year when you're at home, you're at night, they have a new quarterback and you don't. That's the dynamic. They lose a lot of guys, so do we, but that's a better measuring stick of Marcus and where he's at. That's such a big game. There's no excuse to not go to that one early in the year. Come on, go.
Yeah, man. Let's come on, ND Nation, get out there. Don't sell those seats. If you do sell them to a Notre Dame fan, don't sell them to these opposing fans anymore. Let's get the house at Rockney built rocking, man.
But let's
do it.
But why is that too much to ask? I'm not asking you to go to every game and spend all your money. I'm just saying, if you don't, make sure where they go to. It's one extra step and a little bit of work, man. Throw a post online. You find a million Notre Dame people. I want to bring me and my kid. They've never been. Like, they don't. Come on. I don't know. That's how,
like you said,
I've done it.
We live in a greedy world, and everybody wants to, like I said, that YouTube video, it was entitled "The Day Georgia Fans Took Over Notre Dame Stadium." A lot of the comments in there were from Notre Dame fans, and they were all saying, "I'll remember this is the day that Notre Dame fans got rich off Georgia fans." So, I mean, I get it.
But, dude,
I can see both sides of it. It's
man,
just coming from a Notre Dame fan, it's hard to see them take over your stadium.
I can't tell anybody what to do with their money, but if you do what I said, you don't lose money. You just need to do a little more work to find Notre Dame people. That's all. Come on.
Agreed. And one last thing I'm going to leave you with here is concern the Ohio State game. Okay, so everybody's talking about Tommy Rees. They want Tommy Rees's head. I'm not going to agree or disagree, but here's what I'm going to say. The play call was very vanilla, and I think that he could have took some downfield shots more than he did. I agree with all that. You know, I don't know if Merriweather was hurt or not, but I no matter if it was Lindsey or Tyree or whoever it was, Styles. I think even Mayer. I think he could have took more shots downfield than what he did. With all that being said, you said this earlier. Our wide receiver position, that's the biggest question mark on our team right now because of the depth, right? And that is a Brian Kelly problem. So I think that was the issue. Has over the past, I don't know, let's say 2 or 3 years, has Notre Dame had a player that has been able to take the top off of the defense?
It's tough when you don't. Well, shouldn't Braden Lindsey be that? If he's healthy, he should be that guy.
I'm asking you the question. Has he been that?
No, because you haven't been able to rely on him because he's been injured too much. But that should be your one guy that's capable of doing that and is a threat, and that people have to account for on that. He has to be the one. He's the guy.
I agree. If you're taking shots with Matt Salerno, you should be taking shots with Braden Lindsey. I agree with that point. But I don't think it's Tommy's fault, because if you go back 2 years, just 2 years, we still have the same players. What did we bring in this year? We brought in one receiver. So the receivers that we've had for the last 2 years, they've already been there. So we know they can't take the top off the defense. And if they could, they'd be doing it, right? I don't think that's Tommy's issue.
You
can't run the ball if you can't take the top off of defense.
Right. Then you can't do either.
That's
then you can't
76 yards.
Yeah, I was going to say, if you can't do that and you can't move people in the running game, that's how you end up with 10 points in a big ball game. I think
you can't move. It's not even that they can't move people in the running game. It's just if you can't threaten taking the top off a defense, they're going to stack the box.
Right. There's no reason.
6 players coming and you only have 4 players blocking. That's just math.
Yeah.
You have to take the top off a defense.
Or you don't even have
to open up the running game.
You don't even have to, but you have to present the threat that you're going to. Like, you don't even have to do it, but even just the threat of it makes.
Yeah, you have to have the personnel to be able to threat that.
Right. But you might go along with this. I always say this. Early in games, I don't care who you're playing. Early in games, first 1 or 2 series, I'm taking a deep shot no matter what. One play out of the first couple series, no matter what the result is. I want that defense to know I'm not afraid to do it, and you better loosen those safeties up. I'm doing that every game, and that's just the way I would do it.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that, especially if we want to start winning these big games. Because, in my opinion, we're talking about that Peyton kid wearing Oklahoma colors on his gloves. I don't know if that matters or if it doesn't. I don't like it. I'm in the same boat you are.
I don't like it.
Healy decommitting. We're not going to get these guys. We're not going to get these guys if we don't start winning these big games. That's the only way we're going to climb out of ourselves with this 5-star hole, right?
Yep.
We have to start winning We have to start winning these big games, just being outmanned. We have to. That's the winning solves recruiting, in my opinion. So until we're able to do that, we're not going to be able to compete recruiting.
All right.
We're not going to close the gap.
But follow me here. You're on a good path. This is a good call. You're hitting a vein of a lot of important stuff. Here's the issue with this. I did a whole show on this exact topic, your last sentence, like a month ago. Then you're in a chicken or the egg dynamic and you're stuck. Elite recruiting breeds elite winning. Elite winning breeds elite recruiting. One hand feeds the other. Notre Dame's right in the middle. So something has to give. I was kind of praying maybe Marcus's personality would be enough that we would be able to do the elite recruiting and then the winning could come. You're seeing some instability at the top end of our recruiting classes that now makes me think you may have to go the classical route of win some of these elite games. You're going to have to. You're going to.
Keon Keeley was at this game this past weekend. Ohio State hosted him. I'm sure you knew that.
Yep.
If Notre Dame would have won that game, that kid would have seen that. And I don't know if that would have changed his mind.
But it couldn't hurt.
But I think it would have played some sort of effect.
Yeah, it's but that's where Notre Dame's at, is the chicken and the egg. So you're going to have to find a way to turn some heads with the guys you have. So you got to find a way to Lou Holtz it and get more out of the group than it looks like you should on paper in your biggest moment.
That's exactly right. I like
it.
That term, Lou Holtz it.
No, that's what you got to do.
That's a good thing.
That's what you got to do.
You have the 1988 Miami game.
Yep.
And Jimmy Johnson's asked for me.
That's it, baby. Yeah. And you need to know how to fire them up in that moment, what buttons to press, get more out of the group than it looks like you should on paper when it adds up, and go that route. But the chicken or the egg,
in my opinion, that's the only way we're going to climb ourselves out of this gap closing recruiting.
Yep. You're going to have to. You're just going to have to
being outmanned.
Find a way to win one of these games. I saw on Twitter, Notre Dame's like 2-25 in their last 27 against top 5 teams. That is horrible.
Yeah, and I don't know this for sure, John, but I'm willing to bet if you look up any other team and you look up their past 25 games against top 5 teams, I bet it wouldn't be that far from what we are. Top 5 games are hard to win.
Yeah. No, it's a really good point.
I think it would probably be a little bit better than what Notre Dame's record. But top 5 games are hard to win, but you have to win them if you want to recruit these 5-star kids.
But dude,
you have to.
2-25. And then I end up thinking, how does Notre Dame not accidentally get a win somewhere where the other team just has their bad game or makes a bunch of penalties? Like, it never ends up being where Notre Dame plays a great team and they have a crappy night. Like, we never have gotten that break. Everybody plays great against us.
I know.
Ready to go. They're ready to go.
We never have the luck of the Irish in those big top 5 games.
Like,
ever.
When are it just blows my mind. We don't catch one of them sleeping or they have a bad game and then we play our best and we end up winning. But everything's hard for Notre Dame. You're not getting no break. You got to earn it. So it starts this week. You got to put up a lot of points, look good against Marshall. We'll all feel better next week during this show.
Yes, sir.
Beautiful. Good call. Really good call. We covered a lot of really good ground. Call me back again anytime, my friend.
All right, buddy. Go Irish.
Go Irish. Let's get this first dub for Marcus. Got to get it. Here's the deal. I want to go back to the ticket thing for a minute. And I've always felt this. And it might just be me and my romanticism with Notre Dame. I would rather personally, when I have Notre Dame tickets and I'm not going to the game, I get more out of selling those tickets at face value or giving them to somebody I know that as a kid that they want to bring to their first game and see and experience Notre Dame the thought of some 10-year-old kid who loves Notre Dame, and this is a chance for dad to bring him there the first time, I get more value out of knowing that's going on than I would make it $200 or $300 extra dollars selling the tickets to some drunk idiot from Ohio State or Cincinnati or whatever. That's just me, and I know I'm weird, but emotionally, the way I am with Notre Dame, I get more out of doing that than making a few more bucks. I just personally do. Joel says, as a former local to South Bend, when Notre Dame changed ticket pricing, they shut us locals out from getting easy tickets. 100% you did. It was really interesting. The tickets I have for the good games, like the big games, really good tickets, used to be $150 a ticket for the primetime games. They instituted that change, doubled right away on me. So now you're talking 150 times 2. Overnight, they changed the policy. It ended up being 300 times 2. God forbid John gets his hand on 4 of them for a big game. Now you're looking at 300 times 4. That adds up. That adds up, man. You doubled it on me from 150 to 300 overnight. You doubled me up. You doubled me up. That's a lot. It just is. It just is. That's a lot. To double me? You're going to double me right off the bat? Damn. Let's see. 386, you're on the air.
What's up, John? How you doing today, sir?
Good morning. What's on your mind? How are you? Where are you? Florida down there?
Yeah, I'm in Daytona Beach.
Beautiful. What's on your mind today?
Repping the Irish.
We need it down there. I need more representation down there. You're in SEC land. I need more representation. Do a good job. Fly those flags.
Absolutely. You already know I have multiple flags flying around the backyard. That's for sure.
Beautiful.
But, yeah, I'm just excited for this team overall. I know a lot of ND fans are putting this first game, putting a lot of pressure on the team now after the outcome of the game. But personally, we've seen the comments from the Ohio State fans saying, what they've been saying. And it's just funny to me how they think, because before the game started, they're saying, 50, 60 points we're going to score. And it's like only giving up 21. I see our defense being pretty dang elite starting off week 1 like that. So if we can work our offense into becoming, great, maybe not elite, but even a great offense by the end of the year could do damage to, these better teams that we're going to play.
Yeah, I don't know, man. It's so hard to wrap your mind around the proper perspective on all this when you have a game like we had week 1 to judge where you're at. And you feel like with Notre Dame's defense being the strength, the offense, you don't need to put up 60 points a week to win your games. The defense is going to pull the defense is going to do their part. They've been the backbone of the program for this last 5-year run of 10 plus wins every year. The issue is for Notre Dame ever to get where any of us want it, the offense at some point is going to have to be a part of the reason we're winning these games. And we've never seen that. We've never seen that. And when I say never, I mean never. All the Kelly era, we weren't winning any big game because of the offense. We all know that. How do we get that up to par where the defense is?
That's where we had the faith in Tommy to be able to take the whole offseason with the talent that he does have and be able to utilize it. And it's just unfortunate that he did not do that in the first game. So, as the coaches that get paid millions of dollars, that's what they have to do is come back and bounce back from a bad performance. So we know Tommy has the IQ to do it. It's just we have to see it. We have to see the production on the field.
Yeah, it's really frustrating. And you know what I always think about too? Maybe you're the same way. I watched a lot of football, over there was 5 days in a row. There was football, over the holiday weekend. And I saw college teams with 1/10 of the talent on Notre Dame's offense running quick slants, running passing plays, whipping the ball all over. They're just throwing it to this guy and squeezing the pass in here. And it looks easy for these teams. And a lot of them have way less talent than I know we have. Why does it look like it's pulling teeth for Notre Dame to get any rhythm on offense? Why?
I don't get that. Yeah, that's got to be the most frustrating part to watch about this team, because like you just said, we know the talent's there, but it's why aren't the calls being called at the right times? Or why aren't you calling a deep shot when you know the team needs it? Instead of when you know Ohio State was starting to stop our run, okay, let's try to take a shot here. And it was just too late. They just waited and it was too late. I don't get where's that aggression when you need it in those big games. That's what you need.
Yeah, and
super frustrating.
Exactly. And here's the other issue is when you say this, the way I'm talking about it, a lot of people want to say, well, you need to understand, John, that Ohio State's got a really good defense with a lot of athletes and one of the top defensive coordinators in the entire country. I totally understand that. And I knew their defense was going to be athletic and physical going into this game. I know all that. Building that in, I still needed more from the offense. Like I'm baking in that I know it's going to be hard to move the ball and score on Ohio State. Even with that cooked in the recipe, I expected more. And the offense is starting this year further behind than where I thought they would be. And I already had a low bar going into last week. That all puts me in a little bit of a weird spot watching tomorrow. I'm not going to be watching there smiling and laughing. I need you to get business done tomorrow. You have work to do tomorrow.
Exactly. And that's, again, when we look at the expectations, every Notre Dame fan had these expectations before week one. We had an idea of what this offense could look like, and it's just unfortunate that we did not see that. And then again, it happened in a big game. So, of course, we're going to have the critics say that we just can't win it. But then they won't talk about Ohio State's we're actually kind of nervous for, a good 2.5, 3 quarters of that game. It's pretty interesting to see that narrative still being spread, even though we were going toe-to-toe with them for a decent amount of the game. So there's a lot we can build off of. And obviously losing another big game sucks. But I truly believe Freeman, the blueprint that he has created will lead us to start winning the big games. And it's just a matter of time, but we have to see it.
You know what? You bring up another point that I've been hitting on this week. It's a weird dynamic. I feel like I can see the finish line of where this is headed. Like I can see the direction and I can see the feel of what the finished product should look like. And I could see the structure of it, the scaffolding of it. But I also see there's a gap between now and that product. And that's where I'm at.
Sure.
How long does it take to fill that gap? What do the learning curve struggles look and feel like? And how long do they have to last for us to get from where we're at now to where I see the light at the end of the tunnel? And I never had that feeling under Kelly, though. That hope, that ray of hope, the light at the end, building to something, feeling like the recruiting's getting better and that'll help. There's a light at the end of this tunnel I didn't have under the last guy. But how long do I have to wait to see it? How long is it going to take us to get there?
That's the big question. And, nobody knows. But, again, it's having that initial faith that our head coach can get us there. And another big takeaway from that Ohio State game is our coach got us prepared to play that game. That's step one in any big game is you have to be ready to play the game.
Yep.
If you're never ready, you're never going to win a big game.
That was the number one thing to watch for. That's my number one bullet point takeaway of the whole weekend. It wasn't even if Notre Dame won or lost against Ohio State. My number one question was, can Freeman figure out something Kelly never did right away? Have your guys ready to play so they don't look scared to go into an environment like this. At least we got that accomplished.
Yep, and that's a huge step that you can build off of. Again, going toe to toe with a top 2 team in the nation. Not every team can say that they did that week 1. So, build off what we did. Our defense showed that it can be elite. Now Tommy just needs to, again, open up the offense and let the kids play. Man, we have the talent. Again, we can talk about the talent all day long, but he's got to put them in better positions, and he's got to put them in the right spot to go out and make those plays. Like, that's what it comes down to.
Yep. And I think Buckner's the kind of player that if you give him some opportunities to be able to go out there and just make plays, that's where he operates best. You got to put that kid in a spot where his talent and natural inclination can decide the play. You're going to get the most out of him doing that, not structuring everything down to where there's no flexibility at all. That doesn't serve Buckner's game the best. What do you want to see? What do you want to see from him this week? I got to see him open it up. Let him cook. I need to see it. Let him cook.
Yeah, exactly what you're saying. He's got to open it up. But Buckner himself has to trust his playmakers too. Don't be scared to throw the ball because we know they're good. Let them make the plays, man. And don't be scared to throw a pick. I mean, obviously, you're going to throw picks throughout the season. You're not going to be perfect. What he has to do is be able to bounce back from that. Obviously, like more in the big games. But this week specifically, don't be scared to make a couple mistakes. Just come out, if you do make a mistake, the next series, and just do what you do. You know you're a talented QB. Again, just get it to your playmakers. You know they can make plays too.
Yep. And don't
make it so hard on yourself. I think our offense last week was just making it too hard on themselves when we were shooting ourselves in the foot, which we didn't want to see.
Yep.
And it's unfortunate that Tommy couldn't get the boys ready in that second half to limit that.
Yeah. And the other thing is, you were talking about, like, if you're Buckner and you make a mistake, as a young guy and all this, here's the thing, man. You're a first-time starting quarterback. You are going to have a learning curve. There are going to be trial and error. There are mistakes he's got to make to learn from, but he's got to get through that. Like, we have to get it going. Exactly. That whole process, we need to get going. And it didn't fully get going last week because everything was so structured because of what that ball game was and what you couldn't let it turn into if you're Notre Dame. Getting out of hand, a blowout, your young quarterback's dead, has no confidence. Like, they had to protect against that on the downside. I get it.
Yep.
Now you need to lighten up. No, you don't have to be perfect to beat Marshall. You need to let these guys play. And I just think we'll all feel better if you do that.
Yep. We were just playing last week to not make any mistakes. It's not that, that combined with just not being, aggressive enough to score enough points.
Yep. And you can't play your best. You can't play your best when you're playing all tight like that, kind of like you're in a little box. Like, nobody plays their best in that. No one works their best in an environment like that. It was just a tough week 1. That's why it was such a bad week 1 matchup. If it's Tyler Buckner, 3 years starting quarterback going into that game, it's a different situation. It was just a bunch of weird circumstance all at once.
Yep, it definitely was. But there's a lot of things, positively that we can take away from that game, even though we did lose.
For sure. You're right. Yep.
Again, I'll go back to what I said at the beginning is, we have 11 games of football to prove that this team can play in the playoffs. It's not like this is week 10 and we just laid a dud and just can't score anymore.
If you're going to lose one, you do it week 1 and you do it against an elite team. And Notre Dame lost their first game. They're ranked 8th. You can live with that. That's about as good as you can ask for losing game 1, right?
Oh yeah, 100%. There's so much room to improve and you didn't drop that far. So 4 or 8 isn't far away from 4.
And you just win all. Hey, listen, win all your games. I don't care how they look. Win them all. Then we sit there before Clemson and talk about what that means and how much better we've been from Ohio State to Clemson. That's my roadmap. It's got to be. That's John's roadmap.
Oh, 100%. That's exactly what needs to happen. And then we need teams like USC to keep winning so they're decent at the end of the year too. So, you know, obviously the more ranked wins we have, the better it looks. But again, we have to show up to those games and play the way we know we're capable of playing, and not, you know, leading the whole freaking fan base into thinking we're just going to come out and dominate and then just lay it done. Like, we know this team is talented enough to not do that. So again, step one, you have to be prepared. And then step two, your game plan, if it isn't going accordingly, you have to be able to adjust and start taking, you know, different looks and different chances. You have to. In big games, you just have to.
Yep, that's how I see it too. So new week, new challenges, and we'll see if we feel a little better next week. But thanks for the call, my friend. Good ideas. Call again.
Yeah, absolutely. Have a good day, John.
Thank you. You too. Enjoy the ball game.
Bye.
Take care. Good call.
Yes, sir.
Oh, 612, we're talking to you.
Hey, greetings from Big Sky Country, John.
Good morning. How are you? Thanks for giving me a call. What's on your mind?
Well, your blood pressure.
It's a concern, you know, but
Yeah, this is a lower your blood pressure call.
I need that. I need that.
You're dealing with it. I know you're dealing with an addiction. And here's why I know that. This is my 76th Notre Dame football season.
76 years?
At least the ones I'm cognizant of. 7 years old, I got into this and was addicted. And so I know what you're dealing with, and I'm just trying to lower some blood pressure here.
Thank you.
And then I'll give you some concerns later on.
Okay.
I'm a grad. I graduated in 62. Been to a lot of big games. Been to a lot of big games that we lost, and realized the pain of it. Now, what's happened to me is I have 3 daughters that have bought into this. And so for the last 34 straight years, we've gone to a game, and I will be at the Cal game. As I think you will, right?
I'll be at the Cal game as well.
Anyway, I've been just as crazy as you. I'll give you one instance. I listened to a whole Miami game over the telephone once because I could not bear not to at least hear something, and couldn't get the game on the radio or TV. So anyway, I'm going to be your Dr. John, and my name is John. The doctor is not a legitimate moniker.
What's your prescription for someone like me with this affliction?
Hey, I know it. I mean, for years, well, first of all, my first 4 years, from 7 years old till 11, we didn't lose a game.
That helps. That helps a lot.
Yeah, well, then when you start losing, it's even worse, John.
Oh, I bet.
But anyway, yeah, I'd like to give you a call from time to time on a Friday to lower your blood pressure. Just share a little bit of my Notre Dame lore with you.
Hey, can I ask something to you? Since you have all this experience, John, can I ask you something?
Sure.
I'm going to ask this. You've been around the program a long time, seen a lot of coaches and regimes come and go. And I'm sure you've developed a feel for them. Each regime and each head coach at Notre Dame, there's just a vibe around them, a feel around them. I want to know what your feel and vibe around the Marcus Freeman hiring is. It's a unique path for Notre Dame, going with the new, young, energy guy without the body of experience. I just want to know your initial read on Freeman and the Freeman era.
Well, it's funny because that was one of the things I was going to bring up at the end. I am totally bought into this guy. I think he's a fantastic person. But here's my concern. I look back on all these years where we brought in coaches without head coach experience in the college area. You got Terry Brennan, and I suffered through 1 year of Terry Brennan at school. Then you have Jerry Faust, Davey, and then good old Charlie. And none of them worked out, and that's my concern. I just got to see. I got to see something out of him tomorrow. If we don't win that game by 4 touchdowns, I'm going to be concerned.
Yeah, and that's the issue with. I mean, that's the great thing about college football is you have 2 different weeks, 2 games back to back, and our perspective as fans are totally different. Like, this isn't last week. This is Marshall. You need to get this guy his first win, cross that off, and keep it moving. People are not in the mood for a slow start. You need to get business taken care of early and often tomorrow in Notre Dame Stadium. You have to.
I agree, and I think back on last week, and I remember the replays from behind the Notre Dame offense. Who's the center? Corral or something like that?
Yeah.
Corral?
Yeah, Corral.
And I don't know if he was missing a block, but it's just like he blocked to the left, and that linebacker just came right up the pipe. Yeah. And the other thing that disappointed me, and everybody said it, is the offense was so conservative, and we just can't have that tomorrow.
Well, there's no reason for it tomorrow. You're not playing Ohio State's defense. So you need to get this offense growing, and you need to find a good, comfortable starting point. And I don't think anything that happened against Ohio State provided that, because every yard was so hard to get. So we need some stable footing, be able to work on things, and give us a level footing to move forward the rest of this schedule. That's what I need to see tomorrow.
I agree. Like I said, I want to see a 4 touchdown at least win.
Yep.
I want to see us throw the ball around a little bit.
You have to. You got to get that part of this team going. You have to get it going. You got to push it. Maybe a little more than you even are comfortable doing, because you have ground to make up in that area. I need to see them push that tomorrow.
Oh, I agree. I'm going to turn you loose. I just want to tell you, I discovered your show sometime in June, and I have gotten you at least 1 subscription out there in Idaho.
Beautiful. Thank you. I appreciate that. John, you're a long-time guy. I appreciate this. The fact that you've been around Notre Dame this long and value my program, I appreciate. Thank you, John.
Enjoy you a lot. Sorry we brought up some game stuff to raise your blood pressure again, but Dr. John will give you another call sometime and trying to keep that blood pressure down where it's manageable. Okay.
I appreciate it. Give me a call once a week, Dr. John. Give me a call. I need it. Thanks a lot.
Okay, bud.
Thank
you.
Go Irish. Go Irish. Could you imagine 76 years of die-hard Notre Dame fandom? I ain't even going to live 76 years to be alive, let alone be a fan of this team that long. You all know that. I don't have no 76 years. Look at the way I am. You think I'm going to live to 76? With the stress of this Notre Dame every year? 76? You're out of your mind. I'm going to live to 76. Unless Freeman gets it all turned around and we turn into Alabama and I can relax. 76. You out of your mind? What else do we have here? Oh, this is fun. John, we should definitely get together and watch the ND U of M game. I'll buy the first pitcher. U of M? U of M meaning Michigan? That isn't even for like 10 or 11 more years. We're already doing this? 10 or 11 more years. Let's make sure I'm not locked up in a mental institution in a padded room due to this program in 10 or 11 years. Oh, geez. Let's go back to the phones. 215, you're keeping it alive. You're on the air.
What's going on, John? Can you hear me okay?
I can. Thanks for the call this morning. How are you? What's going on?
You got it. You're welcome. I'm out here taking my walk. I called off from my, I took a vacation day from my 9 to 5. So I woke up, turned your show on, and I listened to some of the callers, and I got to agree. First and foremost, being in Philadelphia, we know a little something about sports passion. One of my things I would suggest is to transport all these Eagles fans to Notre Dame Stadium. You'll get that place where it needs to be. It'll be loud, because one thing about Philadelphia fans, we're not a wine and cheese crowd here.
That's for sure.
As we are not that. And the media likes reminding everyone about it. But I'll tell you this, a couple things. As far as somebody made a good point about being upset when he sees the sellouts. I think it's a combination of things to blame. I think part of it is apathy with some of the fans. You know, you brought up a good point. They're coming off a 4-8 season and playing Jordan. Now, there's no excuse. There's absolutely no excuse, because I'm going to use another school as an example. Nebraska. They sucked as long as the day is long. I mean, they haven't been good since Eric Crouch. And I don't even want to remind fans about that game in 2000. But what I will say is, say whatever you want to say, they don't sell out. So I think it's a combination of factors. I blame part of it on the administration for overcharging tickets. And I think that's a combination. Notre Dame also has a smaller student body, obviously, being a private
student section's going to be small. Yeah.
Exactly. So that's part of what makes them unique in the sense. But what Notre Dame has to get to, and I'll just touch on this point real fast, is Notre Dame they've kind of lost their way as far as the mission is. In some ways, I think, as a university. Of course, we'll always love the football team because they're always going to be specialized. But the administration, even going back to days of Rockney when he marketed school, a lot of it with the Subway alumni was immigrants that were underdogs, you know, whatever word you want to use, downtrodden. But they've kind of lost their way in that sense. So you need a transcendent coach. And I think that Freeman has to be given what he needs to succeed. Now, as far as that swamp thing that you referred to, and that's exactly what he is.
Yep.
Saying he didn't have enough resources. He had enough resources. Now, of course, you remember when they had Vinny Serrato. Vinny Serrato was an elite recruiting coordinator that was part of those number one classes that recruiting. Now, this guy, Chad Bowden, seems to be doing a good job recruiting. So I'm not worried about the recruiting aspect. I think they'll be fine. But this is where Freeman, to show his mettle, has to recognize, and I think he will, that if Reeves can't get it done, because Reeves has absolutely sucked. There's no other way to put it. I think he's absolutely sucked in these big games, and I never really understood the fanfare. I kind of wish he just purged the whole staff of the Kelly stink, but we got this guy. But at season's end, if you don't see a huge improvement, then Freeman has to cut bait. And those are the tough decisions he's going to have to make. Unlike Kelly, who held on to guys.
Yeah.
He had the Denbrocks of the world. You know, he had the Brian Polians of the world, and his undying loyalty to average coaches and average players, which is what Reeves was. What do you think about that?
All right. Couple things here. Really, really good thoughts. Very well thought out. Number one is, I have had multiple people reach out to me since Ohio State, that game, and Freeman's press conferences and afterwards. People want to see how he handles all this. Multiple people have told me, you can tell this guy's pissed off in a way you didn't really get from Kelly, where Kelly was mad about losses, because of how it made Kelly look. Freeman's mad about a loss of how it makes Notre Dame look. And those are two very, very different mentalities. So I don't think
I agree.
I don't
absolutely.
think Freeman's going to sit there and let the offense hold them back and not hold Tommy accountable because they're pals and because Tommy went to school here and everybody likes their old quarterback. I don't think Freeman's going to stand for that. I don't think you're going to have that issue where Freeman holds on to guys too long for whatever reason. I don't think you're going to see that. So I think Freeman has a loyalty to winning that I didn't see with Kelly.
Yes, I agree with you. And look, fans like me, I called you like a week or so ago before the Ohio State game. I'm 48. We're going to be 49 soon. But fans like us and older, like the last caller who was great, 1962 grad. My brother was a freshman in Notre Dame in 88. So you can imagine what his perspective would be. So, 1988 to win the whole damn thing. 89, their team was even better. 90 team was absolutely loaded. But they had, of course, the loss at home to Stanford, Bill Walsh. 90. Then they lost to the team with, one of them was coached by the guy who says, God bless him, the late Dennis Green. And then Bill Walsh coached the other, I think the 92 team when he came back. They blew a 16-point lead. They lost like 31-16. John Lynch, Glenn Milburn. But neither here nor there. I agree with you. I think Freeman has a lot of great attributes. Even if he gives the coach speak about the double safety blitz, it is what it is. He doesn't want to throw his players on the bus. I can live with it.
Yeah.
But he is a lot more refreshing. I want to see. I take a little different stance. I know you said you, and I kind of said the same thing. I just want to see them win. But when you're trying to get that next level, you got to blow these teams out. So they absolutely have to blow these teams out because it's a confidence builder. And we remember, like, when Notre Dame used to go in, when they'd run the ball down opponents' throats, there's nothing they could do about it. And you had Bettis, you had Waters, you had the Brooks, Tony Brooks, Reggie Brooks, running the ball down the throat. You knew, the team knew what they were doing. And the offensive line just said, we're coming your way. Right down, smash mouth football. Now, that's what I want to see. I want to see that kind of dominance because the great teams blow out the average, the bad teams. You don't have to blow out the elite teams. Of course, that would be nice too.
Yep.
But they got to blow out Marshall. So that's what I want to see. I want to see that. I want to see that mentality. And Houston also has to show me something. Of course, he's probably thinking, what do I know about football? But me, as a casual fan observer, he has to show us all something. We're like, you got to show us what you're known for, being a great offensive line coach. Let's get this team with that mentality to beat you up.
Yep.
And that's what we need to see.
I like it. And you are correct for where this program is, as stable as it's been the last 5 years. You are correct when you say the bar isn't just limping by Marshall at home. There are bigger things you need to accomplish in this game than just that. And you need to take advantage of this opportunity to get where we need to be. I'm right there with you. You need to take Marshall and Cal the next 2 weeks and get as much confidence in the offense as you can and score as many points in the next 2 weeks as you can.
Exactly. And you know what? I hope, but I think they're going to do it. I think they're going to do it and open it up because I guarantee you, if Tyler Buchner was at Alabama right now, Tyler Buchner would be one of the scarier quarterbacks in the country. A lot of people say, well, you don't have enough data on him. Alabama, traditionally, they've had guys like Greg McElroy. These guys are average. Buchner is an above-average talent. He has elite skill at times. He obviously needs to refine some things. But I guarantee you, if Tyler Buchner were Alabama, or, God forbid I say this guy, but even Lincoln Riley got a hold of him. There's certain people that just know how to coach. So this is why, I would make a run. I've heard some people say before, I don't know how possible it would be to make a run at a Joe Brady or somebody, but you need to be elite in every facet of the game. So if Reeves can't show it by season's end, he's got to be dumped.
Hey, he might not get dumped. He might not get dumped. He might accept a great offensive coordinator job because they all want him anyways, apparently.
Yeah, I'll help him pack.
Well, all right.
No,
Hey,
look,
I'm
it's,
open to it. I'm open to giving this more time, but I expected more week one than what we got. Even knowing how good Ohio State is, I still needed to see more and left disappointed.
Well, think about this, John. Our defense played very well, but our defensive stars didn't play well. Ademola, Riley Mills, Isaiah Foskey, and the linebackers were subpar. And Liafu, who I like a lot, and I still like a lot, and then maybe he's still kind of a little apprehensive right now. But Liafu, which is a huge difference, and some of the games in which he was, the year before last year, when he chased Sam Howell all over the field. So, yeah, we need all those guys to step up.
Yep. So there's a lot.
Definitely great show.
Thanks a lot. Thanks for calling. Really good points. And I like how you're identifying what tomorrow needs to be about. And just scraping by Marshall ain't it tomorrow. There's bigger things that in play here. You got to get major work done tomorrow.
I want 50 to 10.
There you go.
55-10. I want to see like an Alabama Texas State score.
Beautiful. Yep. Nope. That's where Notre Dame needs to get this thing. Good thoughts. Thanks for the call. Enjoy your walk.
You got it. Thanks. See you.
Have a good one. Go Irish. Oh, Sensei TV is in the chat, and I think trolling me, trying to get my blood pressure up. They said Notre Dame's definitely going to lose in the message before the one I have on the screen. So if you're saying Notre Dame's definitely going to lose to Marshall, I'm assuming you're just in here to troll, which is completely fine. But the Notre Dame program hasn't been stable at all. The most stable Notre Dame's football program's been since the 80s has been the last few years. Honestly, geez. I mean, Notre Dame has won 10 or more games in the last 5 years, all of the last 5 years, the couple playoff appearances, issues Kelly had earlier in his era with getting some guys in Notre Dame that he probably shouldn't, and then they end up having major legal and or disciplinary and or extra or academic problems. That's pretty much gone away. Okay, so Notre Dame's program's been as stable as it's been since the 80s the last 5 years. Now, if you want to say to me, John, that program's not elite, that's a different discussion. That's different than not being stable. If you want to say, John, they haven't won a major bowl game, that's different than saying they haven't been stable. That program's been in a stable place. Not elite, but stable. 423, you're on the phone with me. Good morning.
John, I need your help.
What's going on, man? What can I do for you?
Well, my man, I'm down here in Tennessee in this SEC country, flying my Irish flag, flying my Cubbies flag, getting beat up like there's nothing. All you hear is SEC.
Yep.
Notre Dame can't show up for the big game.
Yep.
I like I said, I'm down here in Jack Daniels country. I don't know if they can make enough down here right now. What's going on with me?
Well, listen.
So I'm
how do we change this? How do we change this? What needs to flip to where Notre Dame can start getting some of that respect? Is it just as simple as showing up one of these big games and winning it? Is that it? Is that the simple answer?
It has to be, John, because like I said, I'm 57 years old. And I had to watch Alabama and Georgia and SEC championship game and had to listen to all that down here. But this is what I'm doing, my man. I am here within 2 hours. I'm going to make a 10-hour pilgrimage to South Bend, Indiana. And I don't know if I need to go to the Grotto, the Basilica, somewhere to get my head right, get my soul right. Because I just don't understand what's going on with this offense right now. Help me, John. Help me.
It's a challenge. And first off, I do recommend you need to hit all those spots because the offense needs all your prayers and your soul searching. You need it all. So hit all those plays. We're going to hit them all. You're going to light a candle at the Grotto. Then we're going to take a walk to the crucifix in the woods hidden in the trees by the lake. Then we're going to go to church. You're going to hit the Basilica. So we're going to do all that to get all the good juju out there and all of our spirituality going. Here's what I think. We all knew starting the year this was going to be a little bit of a challenge with the new quarterback, new coaches, talent, but a lot of it not all together. We knew all that. Now I think this offense has to grow and evolve with Tyler Buchner. They have to put that quarterback in a position where he is comfortable enough to operate and play his best. What does that look like? I don't know. Am I over negative on the offense just because Ohio State held them down and maybe it'll look good the rest of the year? I don't know. But that wide receiver room's a problem, and that ain't going to get solved this year. That's a problem all year. That problem isn't going away this year, and it sucks.
I just want to see a screen to Tyree. Can I get that?
You know what they were saying? I was listening to somebody, and they were saying, I'm surprised we didn't see more of that. And then the next thing out of their voices might have been Irish Illustrated, somebody. They said the staff doesn't have a lot of confidence in Buchner to throw those swing passes out there yet.
Oh, my God.
And I don't understand how that could be. How can that be? But that's honestly what they said is they don't think he's good enough at that yet.
He can't throw it 7 yards?
I guess.
He can't throw it 5 yards?
I guess.
Well, John, John, like I said, what a 9 months, how ironic it's been when, going back to Kelly leaving the program and then Freeman being hired and all the recruiting stuff, and then just to build up for the Ohio State weekend, and you're all excited. And the only thing that made you happy for the weekend is circle back to Brian Kelly because he acted like Brian Kelly.
I'm telling you.
I'm ready for an Irish win.
Buddy, I'm telling you, I needed to get me in a healthy mental space after our game. I needed that Brian Kelly and Brian Polian. I needed it. Like, that was so much more fun than anything watching Notre Dame, Ohio State, watching that unfold. Like, I needed it. It was a palate cleanser for my soul watching Kelly and Polian be themselves.
I loved it. Well, my man, I really enjoy your show. I really appreciate getting this off my chest for this 10-hour pilgrimage I'm making to South Bend right now. All I can say is go Irish.
Go
baby.
Irish, and you need to hit all those spots, say your prayers. Let Notre Dame cleanse your soul, and we usher in the Freeman era with the win tomorrow, and it's off to the races. That's a good plan.
Thank you, John.
Beautiful. Thanks for the call. Take care. Safe travels on your pilgrimage. Don't fall for it, John. I know. They're just trying to get me all worked up. I know that. Just trying to get me all worked up. Man, Sensei TV makes Kent seem like he's a Notre Dame fan. My word. Let's see. How many Notre Dame fans beat their wife after a game? I don't know. Probably the same percentage that does for any other team that loses. I don't know. Man, it's wild to me how many people hate something but jump in to join in on it. That is a riot to me. Back to the phone lines. 901, let's have some fun. You're on the air on a Friday morning. What's going on?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yep, I got you. You're on the air. Good morning.
Hey, man, I'm a first-time caller. Loving what I'm hearing right now. I'm calling out of Memphis, Tennessee. Been a Notre Dame fan since 1990. Love the Irish. Go Irish, by the way. And looking forward to the game this week. I know you guys been discussing a lot about, of course, about the offense, how putrid it was, and the experience with Ohio State. But let me tell you a couple of things that I love. I love the swag about the team. They came out with a different feel. The defense came out with a different feel. There was a little bit more of an attitude, an energy behind them. So that I like. I like Estimate, and I love Tyree on the field at the same time, but I don't like how they're not utilized as much. So I think that's something that I want to see more of, like I heard the other caller talk about maybe some screen, something to Tyree. But Estimate is going to be that guy. He is going to be the dude.
So I love it. Love the defense. Love Morrison, the freshman. Love what the talent we have on the field. I want to see this. But this is what I want to say. And I want you to answer this because I'm from Memphis. And last year I had a wager with a friend of mine. There is a team outside of Michigan and USC that I hate more than anybody, and that's the University of Tennessee. All right. And I'm down here in Tennessee, SEC country. And a friend of mine asked me to go to a Tennessee game with him. I said, hell no, I will never step foot in Knoxville or go there. And he said, but I'll go to South Bend with you because I make the trip every year. And I said, okay, you got my attention. So here's what happened. Me and my son, I took him Labor Day to Florida State, first road game I've ever been to, electric atmosphere. Then I get a couple of weeks before I make the trip to South Bend was the wager with my friend, and I went to Knoxville with him. It was ridiculous. Crowd was fanatical for 4 hours. But when I go to South Bend, y'all got to help me. Where are my South Bend people at? What's the deal? Talk to me. What's the deal with the fan base at our home games?
You got, I'm telling you,
I could read a book.
I'm telling you, man, you got to understand. And like being right outside Chicago, I go to a lot of games my whole life because it's an easy drive. So I go to a lot of games, seasons when we're good, seasons when we're bad, the old stadium, the new stadium, all of it, whatever. So,
okay,
not my first rodeo, but here's what I've come to. The Notre Dame football fan base is incredibly unique. You cannot compare it to pretty much any other football factory because it's just not the same. The fact that it's not regional has a lot to do with this fan base not being all crazy every day. This is not Nebraska. People kept bringing up Nebraska. Look how loyal they are. There is nothing else in freaking Nebraska. They don't even have pro teams. There's nothing else to do. There's nothing else to do but Nebraska football. And all the fan bases are all stacked there because it's Nebraska. Notre Dame, you got these fan base all over the world. The season ticket holders are the ones with the big money. They only come one time a year, fly in. You're sitting at that you're tailgating and you look at the little private South Bend airport. The mini jets come in all day. Okay. Big cigar smokers. Those people only come in one time a year. Then they're selling their tickets to make money. The local people, the regional people. Here's where this all comes down to. Now, the local mom, the non-Notre Dame grad guy that loves it, lives in Gary or Chicago, drives over there with his kid, they're pricing those people out. You can't afford to you and your kid go there. You're dropping $500, $600, $700, and it's tough. So the big cigar smokers with the money don't come every day, sell their tickets. The normal people that are rabid, a lot of them can't afford to get in. So that's how you end up with a weird dynamic.
Interesting. So you're saying it was different in the Holt era?
It was different, but everything was different. The tickets were like $40 back then. Anybody could get them. A prime ticket was $52. They doubled my prices from $150 to $300 overnight. My tickets for a big game when they first switched the format went from $150 per seat to $300 overnight. That's a big jump, man. You're doubling me. You're doubling me with no changes. I don't get anything else. The seat's the same seat. It just cost me double. That sucks.
I appreciate you taking my call, man. Go Irish. Let's have a good weekend.
Let's go. Let's get this W. Number 1 for Marcus, and then we rip a bunch off from there, baby. Let's get it.
Yeah.
Have a good one. Man, I don't know why everybody's into this attendance thing. Like, you can't compare it to Nebraska. Nebraska's Nebraska. It's a regional fan base, and there's nothing else there. You can't. You just can't. And this Notre Dame crowd, I'm sorry, it's getting rowdier. However, that wine and cheese, man. You're Notre Dame is always going to have a certain percentage of wine and cheese crowd that stops the atmosphere from being what I really want it to be to the full extent. Always. That's just Notre Dame's fan base. The classy, rich money. You know what makes me think of this? I'll never forget this. The Bush Push game. I'll never forget being at the Bush Push game and with some family friends, they're in seating in the same area, same row. And I'll never forget towards, beginning fourth quarter, and all those people said, "Oh, it's been really fun, but we better hit the road. It's getting dark and we want to make sure we get home, at a decent hour." You guys, that's what you're dealing with. I'm dealing with big money, cigar smoking, generational Notre Dame graduates, lawyers and doctors. And they were telling me for Bush Push, "Oh, beginning of the fourth quarter, we're going to get out of here. Want to beat the traffic. What a beautiful day. Sunny day and good to see everybody. We're out of here." No interest in the outcome of the game. The outcome of the game didn't matter to these people. They just wanted to be at Notre Dame, see their law school buddies, see all that. It wasn't about winning or losing. There are some really big differences in this fan base and how you think about it. I'm telling you, a lot of those people there just want to have a glass of wine, smoke a cigar, BS with their old buddies. They do not care whether you win or lose. They don't. I'm sorry. I walk out of that place after losses, cursing to myself and under my breath, walk into the car to get the hell out of there. And I see people all around me with smiles on their faces, and they were just out at the park for the day. Notre Dame's a museum to a lot of people. It's a sightseeing tour for a lot of people. A lot of those people, their entire happiness doesn't depend on whether we win or lose like it does for some of you and for me. It's a shame. It's a shame, but that's the way it is, man. That's just the way it is. Oh, boy. Man, you guys in the chat, I know it's Friday, but you guys are riding each other. Man. Sensei, I don't understand. I don't get it. I mean, I like a good troll, but I mean, geez, Toledo. Yeah, dude, you guys are trash. You cannot, Sensei, you cannot name for me more than 4 programs who have accomplished more than Notre Dame in the last 5 years. You just can't. You can't say a team is trash when they've been like the 5th best team in the last 5 years. You just can't. You can't. Alabama, Georgia, Clemson, Ohio State. Pretty much nobody else has been more consistent over the last 5 years than that. It's just a fact. Hate to tell you. It is. Again, Sensei, if you want to tell me Notre Dame has not been elite, Notre Dame hasn't won anything major, you want to say all that? I agree with you. But you have to be specific. There you go. Alabama, Georgia, Ohio State, Clemson. And then the next team that's won is the next amount is pretty much Notre Dame. You could put Oklahoma in there as well, but Oklahoma suffers the same postseason fate we do often. Okay. Oh boy, man. This is, telling you, this chat's going to be ugly if things don't go well Saturday. If it's already getting this way, if we don't score about 50 points, it's going to be ugly. It's going to be ugly. Oh, man. All right. We have gone 2 hours, everybody. Almost 2 hours on the dot. Really good callers. The guy that's been a fan 76 years was probably my favorite. I love people with that much Notre Dame history in them. And the fact that he gave me a call, I love it. That is fantastic. So God bless him. Thanks for everybody that joined. Calls were great. We will be back on game day tomorrow, 9 o'clock. Be there. Have a good day.